Hi, my name's Zachary, and I'm an indie game developer. This is my second commercial game, SuperDebt. I've been working on it for almost a year. Now, I'm sure we've all noticed that generative AI is an aggressively growing technology. It's able to do more and more every day. You can't seem to go anywhere on the internet without seeing some form of AI integration. Like it or not, AI is here. Use it or get left behind. So, will I be using it as a tool in my projects? No! Absolutely not. No, not ever. AI art? More like AI fart, am I right? I don't even like using autocorrect. You think I'm gonna let a hallucinating, inefficient plagiarism machine make my art for me? There are way too many reasons to be against the use of generative AI when it comes to any creative field. It's not even remotely a consideration for me. I am not convinced of its strengths, and I'm disgusted by the ethical concerns surrounding it. Artists who have decided to rely on generative AI in their workflow stand only to harm other artists, enjoyers of the medium, and themselves. Generative AI technologies like ChatGPT, Gemini, or Claude, precisely speaking, are large language models. When it comes to training an LLM to generate art, it needs to consume lots and lots of examples so that it can find patterns. The problem is that people rarely provide consent for their art being used in that way. These LLMs from the start are built on the stolen labor of the many passionate artists that have spent their lives honing their craft. That on its own should be enough to dissuade you from wanting anything to do with this. From the artists that I have heard use generative AI over and over again, I hear variations on this phrase. Like it or not, AI is here. Use it or get left behind. And to that I ask, left behind from what? Where are you going? What exactly do you think you are racing towards? Because I don't think I want to go where you're heading. Generative AI is not a tool to empower you, it is the end result. Generative AI is the final step in the commercialization of art. The goal was and always has been to make human labor as redundant as possible. If you think it won't, it already has. Microsoft is already killing thousands of jobs as it invests heavily into AI. Microsoft doesn't care about improving technology as a means of making our lives better. It wants to make more money. This is just the very nature of the economic system we live under. Infinite growth by any means necessary is the primary motivator. Once you run out of ideas for new inventions that people are actually excited about, all that's left is to find new ways to monetize your audience or to cut down on your costs. If you're a game company and you want to monetize your audience more, you can add more microtransactions and other dark patterns to your products. If you want to cut down on costs, you can do a Microsoft and fire 9,000 workers and replace them all with AI. I'm sure the AI companies won't jack up the prices on you once you're fully committed. If Microsoft can get away with setting loose thousands of employees and replacing them with much cheaper AI solutions, then it will. It's literally illegal to not do infinite growth. If you're a publicly traded company, you have a fiduciary responsibility to your shareholders to make it clear that you're doing everything in your power to give them a proper return on their investment, or they can literally sue you. This relationship between technological advancement and rising inequality is not just true for generative AI. It's been a trend for the last 50 years. Studies show that as worker productivity increases, almost all the new wealth generated goes to the people at the top. From 1975 to 2020, we can see an inverse relationship between increased worker productivity and the common person's share of the economy. Money saved from technological advancements doesn't go to the bottom 90% of workers doing all the actual work, but to the people on top. It's not just Microsoft. All the big players right now have invested billions and billions of dollars into this new generative AI trend, and they're going to try to make a profit by any means necessary. Similar to all the stupid technology fads before it, like NFTs or Bitcoin, all the interest in generative AI is purely speculative. I think what these companies are starting to find out is that nobody actually wants this. That's why these companies are being so aggressive with their AI implementations. You've noticed it, haven't you? That it's literally everywhere, that there's absolutely no way to opt out of it. They hope that eventually you'll just give in and make AI a regular part of your everyday life. I've heard from people who use AI describe them as a coworker or a friend. In a world that's becoming more and more lonely, I think this is incredibly sad. I've heard people say, "Oh, it's great, I use AI to brainstorm or to help me get new ideas." Do this with a person. You don't need to pay $200 a month for this. These AI chatbots will do anything to keep you talking to them. They are sycophants and will tell you exactly what you want to hear so you won't close the chat box. They will build a relationship with you so that you will keep paying your subscription. In a world built on infinite growth where more and more is never enough, the entrepreneurial spirit will always find a way to monetize anything. You think they won't try to monetize the very idea of friendship itself? They're already doing this. There's literally an AI necklace thingy called Friend.
Gosh, I'm out of breath.
Who is this woman with on her hike? Nobody. She's alone with her stupid AI necklace shitbot. These companies want to take away your creativity and relationships and then sell them back to you for a monthly price. Again, this is not science fiction. This is not hyperbole. This is real and it's right now. This shit is driving people crazy. Some are even developing what's called AI psychosis and all sorts of other wonderful new mental illnesses. Even if you think you're not susceptible to stuff like this, studies show that it literally makes you dumber. Your brain is a muscle and it needs to be worked regularly. Use it or lose it. Even the little tasks like coming up with to-do lists or reading an email may seem like wasted time, but you need to do those things yourself. You need to use your brain. Large language models are not your friend, they're not your co-pilot, they're not your coworker. They're a product designed by cynical companies to nurture a alliance so they can take your hard-earned money away from you. As if it wasn't already bad enough, generative AI is really bad for the environment. Texas, a state that already struggles with droughts, is now home to AI data centers that consume hundreds of millions of gallons of water a year. This is the same state that has asked its residents to do their part by taking fewer showers. What exactly is generative AI doing that is so important? What problems are we trying to solve here? Is this anything other than just another vapid and empty technology trend? Well, hidden under the many piles of shit in the generative AI discourse are a few positive use cases. If you look outside of the creative fields, there are scenarios where this technology makes sense. For example, generative AI is proving useful in the medical field. It is helping radiologists detect breast cancer earlier and more accurately in patients. That's fucking awesome. Go do that. Focus on that. Run in that direction. Go help people not die. If these greedy companies would just stick with the obvious and simple positive applications of this technology, then there would be no problem here. Generative AI has no significant purpose in any creative field, because we don't need to make more shitty art faster. If nobody took the time to make it, then it's not worth engaging with. There's already so many movies and shows and video games that you could never even dream to engage with all of it in one lifetime. On Steam alone, around 50 games are released every single day. And no, generative AI does not make art more accessible, because it's not even art to begin with. If you have any range of motion and a functioning brain, you can make art. Shiro Kotobuki had no use of his hands or feet, and he still found a way to draw. My man was in a car accident that took away almost all his mobility, and he still found a way to make it work. He had a legit job at a video game company too. What's your excuse? Even if you don't care about the numerous ethical concerns, or you think you're just too smart to lose your edge, the perceived strengths of generative AI in the creative field really don't check out either. In case you forgot, I make video games. I'm going to show you the process of adding a new enemy to my game, SuperDebt. I'm a solo dev, and that means I do all the programming, make all the art and music, and really anything else you can think of. I even made my own engine, so I have a very strong understanding of all the tools involved with making my game. When you know what you're doing, there's so many ways to cut corners and automate things, all without the use of generative AI. The problems that generative AI claimed to solve were already solved and have been for a long time. So real quick, I'm gonna make like a possessed cube of meat that splits into smaller cubes as you destroy them. First, I'll start with drawing the sprites. One of my weak spots is color theory, so I use a pre-made color palette called AAP Splendor 128. Ever since I was a little kid, I knew I wanted to make art, to make video games, and I've spent pretty much my whole life preparing to do so. I've been drawing for as long as I can remember. I was 14 when I started making music with GarageBand on the family computer, and I was 18 when I got my first book on programming with ActionScript. So much time and effort has gone into becoming the artist I am today. Now, I'm going to import the sprites into the game and scaffold some basic enemy programming so I can just get them into the game. Now I'll describe the behavior I'm looking for. It's a simple enemy, it's just going to bounce around and stuff. Getting smaller chunks of this guy is as simple as respawning them as smaller versions of itself. That's pretty much it, but I'll spend another 10 minutes polishing and fussing around with it. And there you go. With 10 minutes for the art, 10 minutes for the programming, and another 10 minutes for the polish, I'd consider that to be pretty quick. And the important thing is, I was in control the whole time. Art is all about the process. I made every decision because no large language model is going to have a better understanding of my project than I do. Because it can't. Generative AI cannot think. It is not intelligence. It is a program that tries to find patterns in the data that you feed it. I'm confident that I'm already efficient enough with my workflow. It doesn't need to be any faster. If I wanted it to be faster, I would hire a friend to help me out. I'm not going to replace an opportunity to grow a new and joyful working relationship with a human being in exchange for an environment-destroying, stupid-making corporate orb of confusion. I do think that going forward, authenticity and integrity are going to be very well sought after in the people and organizations that make our movies, music, and games. This bubble will burst, if not just from the pure rejection of the general public, but also from the numerous court cases levied against the companies responsible for these generative AI programs. I'd sooner give up on making games altogether than participate in something that's so clearly unethical and utterly devoid of passion or any sort of novelty. If you're also an artist and feeling discouraged by this, I'm letting you know we need you now more than ever. Even if you're not any good, the most crudely drawn stick figures have infinitely more worth because a person took the time to make them. Please don't give up. I know I won't. I will go to my grave fighting this shit. Thank you for listening. Most of my videos are a little lighter on this subject matter and mainly focus on my personal journey as a game developer. With them, I make an effort to share the lessons I've learned so that it may help others on their journeys. If you'd like to help support me as an artist, please consider wishlisting my upcoming game Superdebt on Steam. There's a free public demo, but I also have early access builds available through my Patreon. Anyways, it's now that I'd like to thank my patrons. Thank you to Mom and Dad, Rachel Feirman, ACarr, John Paul Gardner, DoujinShinji, Pauka, Kent Reese, Quinton McCollum, Tyler McBride, Vanglant, Jake Horsley, YoshyFoods, Vurj, Kurger, Zach, Schmole, Skyler Powers, Eva Pace, Nichil Stewart, Osto, Ommelete Studios, Patrick Holder, Griimm, ThatOtherGalPerson, Ryan Neese, Paulo Leitão, ACarr, Nosa, Leafcloud, Nacho, berrylly, Alex Howe, Rottady 01, Matt, MML Lucas, Tony Youssef, Bazgral, Adzuki B, Octo, Hates Me Joe, Samuel Wagner, and Tuber. Good luck out there, and see you next time.